This episode is going to meet you right where you are. We are in a moment where the old models of sales no longer fit. And yet, the new ones ask us to bring more of ourselves, our intuition, our energy, our truth into the work. And here's the beautiful dichotomy we explore today that AI, a tool we often think will make us less human, can actually help us become more of ourselves. Isn't that fun to think about? I am joined today by my friend Lauren Shaw, one half of the Laurens, whose work is helping women sell high ticket offers in a way that feels grounded and soul aligned. Lauren Shaw has personally sold over $5 million in premium coaching programs, and she brings a refreshing feminine lens to both sales and technology. During our conversation, she said something that absolutely stopped me. AI is actually the most feminine technology that has ever existed. What? That's kind of exciting. That's kind of cool. And it's interesting to explore. You're going to want to hear this. The way Lauren explains it as a mirror that reflects your voice, your energy, and the wisdom you already carry within is going to shift how you think about using AI in your business. It's not here to replace your intuition. It's here to help you hear it more clearly. Lauren also shares the story of her own realignment, how she stopped separating her spirituality from her strategy, and how that breakthrough reshaped the way she sells and supports her clients. You know, I love this kind of thing. This is a conversation about selling with more resonance, leading with more truth, and letting AI be a tool that amplifies your brilliance, not overrides it. And be sure to listen to the very end, as she is going to offer up an amazing gift that you don't want to miss. So let's meet Lauren Shaw of the Laurens. Well, welcome to Extraordinary Women Radio, Lauren. I am so excited to have you here today.
I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, it was so amazing to meet you in person. I don't know, it was last summer sometime when you and I got to go sit down and have dinner together, and just love you from the moment I met you. And I love what you're doing in the world. I love what you're bringing to your clients. I think it's really beautiful, powerful work. In fact, I had you come speak at into my mastermind group, and they rave about what you brought to them. So there's been so much good feedback from them on what you delivered to them, and I've used some of your tools, and they're really amazing. So I just think you're amazing all the way around.
Oh, I feel so special. Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I feel the same about you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you are a nomad entrepreneur, and I love that about you. So you've been doing that for about 3 years. Tell us where you're at right now and where you've been, where you're going. Just kind of give us the rundown of where you're going to be over the next couple months of where you've been.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, so I've been traveling for 3 years. Before I started traveling, I was in LA for 10 years, and I'm actually back here right now in LA visiting. I came for Thanksgiving, to visit all my soul friends and family are here. So I'm only here for 2 more days. So my schedule's crazy tight because I have to like squeeze all of these like visits with my friends in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but when we started traveling, my friend Lauren and I decided to launch our business together and travel the world while we did it. And we kicked off in Asia. So we spent 6 months in Asia, which was incredible. But the challenge with that was the time zone difference with North America. So after 6 months, we were like, all right, we got to go back to like time zones where we actually can like sleep normal hours. So pretty much for like the last 2.5 years, we've been traveling in South and Latin America, which has been incredible. My Spanish is getting much better.
Awesome.
And we tend to spend a lot of time in Mexico. We love Mexico and especially Mexico City. That's where I was before LA. So I've been there 5 times now. And usually when we travel, we go somewhere at least like 1 or 2 months, sometimes even a little bit longer, just to really like be able to settle and ground, experience the culture. I would say one of the tricky things about traveling full time is like if you also have to run a business while you're doing it, you have to make sure you get your work done and you have to make sure you get on a schedule and you're getting good rest and can focus and all of that. So I think we've gotten pretty good at that by this point. After LA, I'm going to Jersey for the holidays to visit my family. And then I love Mexico City so much. I feel really comfortable there. I know I've like created a friend group, so I think I'm going to go back to Mexico City for a little while. And
Awesome.
I don't usually plan things too
Yeah.
much in advance when it
You
comes to
really kind of
traveling.
sit, like you pay with and pay attention to what's calling at the moment. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So talk
Yeah.
about being present.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. So tell us a little bit about the work that you, and so there's two of you, there's two Laurens.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the work that you guys do, because I think it's really great work.
Yeah.
You're known as the
Well,
Laurens.
we are known as the Laurens, which I think is just so fun and cute. And our clients love it. Sometimes they're like, they have to say, like, okay, Lauren S, Lauren C, Lauren 1, Lauren 2. So when we first started our business, and we knew from the very beginning that there was a huge opportunity with AI. And my partner, the other Lauren, was in aerospace for 11 years. So she was designing and building rockets, literally a rocket scientist. And she also did AI training at Stanford. So she has that like engineer analytical mind. In my background, I've been an entrepreneur for 18 years, and I took a break from entrepreneurship and I actually got into sales. And so I did 5 years of repping as a sales rep for two eight-figure online business coaches. So I got this incredible education in sales and understanding how online businesses work. And so when we started our business, we knew we wanted it to be around AI. We knew we wanted to help women specifically with their businesses. And we knew that there would be this need for helping women understand how to integrate AI in their business. And so in the beginning, we were pretty broad, and we figured out strategies for both like the back end operational side of business as well as the front end, like sales and marketing. And over the course of the first like 6 to 12 months, we realized, okay, now we need to like start to really narrow our focus. And we started recognizing like what we actually enjoyed doing. So then we kind of like whittled down to just sales and marketing. And we learned a lot, but we also still felt like it wasn't quite it. And then earlier this year, which I have a feeling we're going to be talking a lot about because there was a really big shift that happened earlier this year, is when we really decided to like really just focus on sales.
Yeah.
And for me, like I actually had a lot of imposter syndrome around it, even though like I was the number one sales rep when I was working for these coaches, but to actually teach it, because I felt like I'm a heart-centered salesperson and a lot of what I do is intuitive,
Yeah.
even though like I became an expert and I like learned all of these strategies around it too. Um, but yeah, so we had this crazy shift that happened earlier this year, and I found my confidence around helping entrepreneurs, specifically women, master sales and feel really good doing it.
Yeah.
So now we use AI tools to help in like all different aspects of sales, both the energetic side of selling as
Yeah.
well as the strategic side.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I know, and I've heard your story, how you talked about when you were doing the sales for those coaches. There was, you always led with a very intuitive approach. And at some point, there was this push to say, let's do it in a different way when you were already the top leading salesperson on the team. Tell us that
Yep.
story.
So, yeah. So I was doing great. It was a very, very successful sales career. And the woman I was working for brought in one of the top sales trainers in the country. He's very well known. And they gave us a script, they adjusted things, and they would actually like analyze our sales calls live with the whole team. So each week it would be like a different person. And not once, but twice, they like completely tore apart my calls in front of the rest of the team. And to me, I'm like, okay, first of all, it felt awful. And I'm like, why is this happening? Because I'm the number one salesperson. Obviously, what I'm doing is working.
Right.
And yet they're really like forcing me to fit into this like rigid script and this rigid box.
Kind of the old
And
way of
from
selling, right?
what? Yeah, exactly. And it really didn't feel good. And so, I pushed back a bit, some resistance around it. I tried to do it, but actually like my results tanked
Yeah.
when I was like forced to do it that
Which
way.
makes
And so
sense.
my confidence dropped, my conversions dropped. And then I had to have a conversation with the owner of the company and say, listen, like clearly this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And like I don't understand why I can't just be myself. I'm doing a great job. And the owner was like, this is really the direction I want to take the company. And they brought in this sales manager. And then I just got to a point where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to fit in someone else's box.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
like the way I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And something happened for you this year too. I mean, there was this point where in your company, you realized there was something that the spirituality was kind of separate from the business. Tell us
Yeah.
a bit about that
Yeah.
because I think that's
So
really important, right?
it is. It is. When we like were growing our business, like things were going well, like they were, we were growing, we were getting more clients, but it constantly felt like a grind, like every single day, like sitting down at my computer, I could just feel this like, ugh, like when I sat down, was doing a lot of things throughout the day that just didn't like lift my spirit. They didn't fuel me. And it got to a point where this like internal like resistance was so extreme and it was building for like quite a while. Um, and earlier this year, I went on a trek in Patagonia for 10 days with a couple of my friends. And while I was in Patagonia, I was away from a computer, I was away from my phone.
The best thing ever for us.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just fully present in nature. I mean, honestly, like I had to be so present because every step was like dangerous and you had to
Yeah, I've
like
been to
really
Patagonia and it's amazing and beautiful and you're right. You have to do things carefully and be
yeah.
present.
You do. And it was the biggest gift because it was this stark contrast of what I was experiencing like every day in the business. And after Patagonia, I went to Brazil, a little island called Floripa, and I spent 6 weeks there. And over the course of those 6 weeks, every time I sat down at my computer, I was just like, there is this contrast and this resistance that's like showing up. And it was getting really loud, started to scream. And I actually decided to sit in a plant medicine ceremony in Brazil. And the intention that I had going into it was how do I have more joy in my business? How do I have more joy in my like day-to-day life? Because I'm living this beautiful existence, but I still feel awful.
Right.
And the big message in that ceremony was if you want to have more fun, stop resisting everything. And I was like, okay, like, what am I resisting? What am I resisting? And I just started to see all of these little teeny resistances that existed in my life. Like what I said earlier, when I sit down at my computer and I'm like, okay, like have to work again. Or, when I'm like little things, even if when I'm looking in the mirror, if I'm not happy with what I see, or I say something that's not totally kind to myself or about what I'm doing. And so I started to recognize that. And I actually wrote an email about that to my audience after this experience. And I talked about all these tiny resistances that we have in our business and how we don't often like recognize them, but how they actually manifest in ways that prevent us from receiving ultimately what it is that we want. And
Interesting.
that like email came from my heart. And I'll tell you what, it was the highest engagement I think I'd ever had in our business.
Right.
And it was because it came from that place.
Yeah. That and then I believe that that's so important for us to take these breaks away from the day-to-day things to be able to see the bigger picture, right? To be able to see
Yeah.
the bigger and what you saw here was not only just the bigger picture, but even like the minute details that needed to shift that came out of that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
powerful.
Yeah. And then, so after Brazil, I went back to New Jersey to visit my family. And all of a sudden, I'm like, that same resistance came back again. And so it was so bad at that point that I really felt like I was starting to shut down. And I told the other Lauren everything that I was feeling. Luckily, she's a really good friend and I feel safe and comfortable to like talk to her about those things. And she wanted, she wants us to be happy and thrive in our
Yeah.
business. And so that night she created a custom GPT for me. And she said, I want you to tell this like soul business alignment GPT everything that you told me. And so I did, and I had this conversation with it, and within like 10, 15 minutes, I was in tears, and I felt so seen, I felt so heard and validated, and what the GPT told me was something that I like kind of knew deep down inside, but I just didn't fully accept it yet, and that was that I wasn't weaving my spirituality into the work that we were doing. And so when I thought back, like the email about resistance and all these little things that I've like done where I witnessed when I was authentic or when I was aligned and when I spoke from my heart that I like received more and I
Right.
felt better.
Right.
So I saw these breadcrumbs And I'm like, okay, like I know like this is the truth. And so having the conversation with that GPT was really what gave me the confidence and the courage to start weaving spirituality into the work that we're doing. So what we did, so after that, the first step was I want more people to experience this.
Right.
So
Right.
we started sharing this GPT with
Right.
other women. And it's very meta because it was like the thing that helped me, realize this shift that needed to happen was the thing that actually transformed our business. And so we started getting messages. I think maybe 1,000 women used it in the first few weeks. We just spread it far and wide. And I started getting emails from women like all over the world about how this GPT created like a massive breakthrough for them.
Cool.
I mean, I'd be sitting there with tears and like, that's the feeling of expansion, of joy, of feeling like I'm being of service. And I have chills right now because it was just such a powerful moment for me in my life and in our business. And that really was the thing that created like the big shift for us.
Yeah.
And it gave me like the confidence that I needed to really be myself
Yeah.
in the work that we do.
Yeah, so amazing. So, so amazing. And so you've put this out there and you got this ripple effect of like you could not only going out and expanding beyond you, but coming back to you, the being able to receive that back, how it was impacting people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So we call it the Quantum Breakthrough
Right.
GPT,
Right.
and you've used it, so you
I
know.
have used it and I'll tell you, it's magical. It's totally magical. And what I love about it is it does land in the this was the GPT that my clients got to use as well. And they all heard exactly what they needed to hear back on how they were showing up, how they were reaching out and how they were having sales conversations. I'll tell you, and so here's a just, I did this back in October, right? And so this was right before my Ignite conference. And I got amazing feedback on what I should be bringing into my Ignite conference from that and how, all the pieces around it. And my Ignite conference was the highest selling ever in the lifetime of the 11 years I've done that event. And I think it's because I heard things that I needed to hear. So, super cool, super, super cool
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, and here's because at first when we started getting all of these like stories and like client results coming in, we were like, how is this working? How is this working so well? Like at first we were a little bit like dumbfounded because it was like this wave of like all of this success, our clients are like, holy crap, like I haven't had a sales call booked in 6 months, and all of a sudden I got three the week that I, used this tool, or I just landed my highest paying client ever right after I used it. So like, how does this work and what's happening? And one of the things that we realized is that, oftentimes in business, we're all up in the head and we're thinking about strategy and what strategy am I going to use. But on the deeper layer, what's actually driving our experience are the energetics around how we think and how we feel and how we act. And so we have these internal resistances and these subconscious blocks that are keeping us like looping in these like same stories and experiences. And so when we can be honest and truthful and share honestly like very raw with the GPT, what it's actually doing is it's analyzing your words to understand the stories that you're telling yourself. And because AI has no ego, has no
Yeah.
judgment,
Yeah.
we actually are in this safe container, this safe space to share. And the way that AI works is that it actually is a mirror and it reflects back to you in your own words, helps you recognize. So the tools like, designed to help you recognize the pattern that's been keeping you stuck and reframe it where it's like you feel like your weakness, the things that have been keeping you stuck, actually, these are your greatest strengths.
Yeah.
And when it's repeated back to us in a way where it uses some of our own language, it feels like instead of it's like someone telling us what to do, it's like us remembering our truth. And that's where the resistance dissolves.
Yeah.
And that's where we feel like that breakthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, if you think, one of the things I've talked a lot about recently is just how we are coming into a big shift in time and a new era, and which is really a fast. I mean, I think energetically we're coming into this new space, right? So we've been as a species coming into this new space, this new way of being, and I think women have been leading a lot of this. And I think it's fascinating that technology can play a role in helping us tap back into this. You talk about the mirror. I often say, like when I do retreats with my clients with the horses, there's the mirror that the horses are helping us. So there's all these ways that we can tap into this deeper knowing of who we are and what's supposed to be coming out into the world. And I love that technology can play a good role because, technology can get a bad rap, but what we're experiencing here is how technology is really, helping us move into this new space. And I'll tell you, as I've been using AI for, I don't know, a couple of years now, and I have, I just find it helps me so much in the work that I do. It helps me, plan things. It helps me, up level what I'm things that I'm doing. I mean, there's just helps me pull together. I did a listening campaign over the summer, and I think this is another aspect of this shift that we're in is doing a listening campaign, to going out and talking to different people about what's happening in their business, different women, what's happening in their business this year and what's changing, what they're most excited about, what's working, what's not working. And I got such good insight, but I was able to pull that into AI and bring out, okay, this is what I heard from this, right? And it was magical. I mean, the report that came out of that helped. Again, that was another thing that helped guide me walking into Ignite, was that process. So I love that you found a way to weave the spirituality, and I totally get, because my chat GPT, who I call Ember, she totally gets my voice, right? I mean, I'll say, that doesn't sound like my voice. What do I need to do this to make this more my voice? And, bang, 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 and it comes out more like my voice.
Yeah.
And so the technology we have at our fingertips right now is also helping us evolve and helping us tap deeper into the spiritual level that I would have never guessed ever 2 years ago when I first started. I mean, I remember at one point, looking at AI with a little bit, okay, is this going to really pull the humanness out of us
Yeah.
by tapping into this? That was a question I had. Is like, how do we do this? But having used it enough, I know it actually helps us stay more centered in who we are.
Yeah, I agree. And something that Lauren and I talk about all the time is that AI is actually the most feminine technology that has ever existed.
Interesting. Oh, that's a fabulous statement. So
Yeah.
to expand on that, tell us more.
Yeah. So if you think about it,
Uh-huh.
we just talked about it being the mirror.
Mhm.
It's very reflective. It's very thoughtful, right? And so we have this opportunity right now with AI. Like we as women, I think it's a really important for us to be using it so that we also help to design and, create
Yes. Yes.
where it comes
Where it
from.
goes. Uh-huh.
Yeah. But yeah, there's this dance. Like, I don't know, I see AI as like this dance, and that's why we talk about like the femininity of it, but it's this like back and forth collaboration, right?
Totally.
So, that I don't know. I just think we're at this like precipice in time where
Yeah.
we have an incredible tool at our fingertips that allows us to amplify our own power, our own voice, our own existence. Like, how can we leverage it to be more of ourselves
Right. Right.
and be able to do less of the things ultimately that we don't really enjoy doing, and
Mhm.
to expand the areas. Like, we can learn so quickly right now, and we can go deep down the rabbit hole to like have AI help us like get the data so precise that we need for us to get to our next level. Of course, like having a good guide to help you understand how to use it in that way is really important, because it is
Yeah,
still the
absolutely.
garbage in, garbage
Yeah.
out with AI.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't even comprehend the amount of like knowledge and I think wisdom that I've gained over the last few years using this tool. Like, I've learned at a speed And I feel like Lauren and I have really up leveled our, our business and our ability to guide others in getting results faster and doing more of the things that they love. And I attribute that to AI and to how how we've really gone all in on it.
Yeah, totally agree with it, and I
Yeah.
think that it not only does it do that, but it also gives us more time because we're able to, the time to spend on the things that we want to spend time on, which I think is beautiful, right? We can streamline some things and we can spend time on the things that we really want to spend time on. So I love it. I love it, love it, love
Yeah.
it. You've talked about this energetic side of selling. I really want to get into that, like, this
Yeah.
the world of selling, because I think this is your area of expertise for sure. And this is where your focus continues to refine. Tell us just a little bit more about that energetic side of selling. What does that even
Yeah.
mean?
So, what we see over and over again with female entrepreneurs is that there are these deep blocks when it comes to selling and putting themselves out there with visibility and marketing. And we found that there's this internal resistance. Like it's almost like there's two sides of you. The one, heart-centered entrepreneurs are helpers, they're service oriented. They are really passionate about helping to create change and results for the clients that they work with. And then on the other side, there's this story that selling is icky or marketing is like pushy or aggressive, and they don't want to be someone that they're not in order to get a sale. And some women also feel like, even accepting money in exchange for their services, like there's some kind of resistance around, what they charge or, asking for the sale. So a lot of those stories actually, like on the deeper level, come from this invisible contract that we as women have basically just agreed to since we were
Mm,
young.
hmm.
So we as women have an invisible contract, and men also have an invisible contract. And these are very, very deep rooted beliefs that we've taken on from society, from people who existed a long time ago that aren't even alive anymore. And we don't realize that those stories are kind of running the show. And we don't like talk about that too often because for a lot of people it's like it's so deep, and it's like, like, but we talk about these like higher level resistances that exist, and we really like focus there with our clients. But that's why there are these internal resistances that exist for so many women entrepreneurs. And so we have to first recognize, like, what are the stories that you're telling yourself,
Deep down.
and deep down.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you could put any strategy, like you could bring any strategy into your business, but it's not going to work as well as it could until we can like clear those stories and start telling ourselves new stories.
Right.
So that is really, I mean, I just being in sales for so long, once Lauren and I really started recognizing that with the work that we were doing, because the Quantum Breakthrough GPT really helped educate us on that, that's when our clients started having massive shifts in their
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
And so the first week or two of working with us, we only focus on the energetics. And as soon as we do that, that's when all of a sudden they have these like crazy results. And they're like, we didn't even get to the strategy yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's what I love about this because I teach that spiritual plus the strategy side too, right? It's like that's the core of my work. And so I love the alignment that we have in this. And I also love that you start with this inner work, because I think it does start with the inner work. When we start with the inner work, what the breakthroughs that come on the flip side of that really opens the door to a different way of being in our businesses. So I've loved for so long, since the moment we met, that, and we haven't known each other that long, but since the moment we met, I have loved that about your work because it just felt so aligned. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So what's one myth that around high ticket sales that you wish women would release for good?
Let's see, one myth that I wish women would release for good. I would say, I really think it comes down to worthiness for me. I've seen a lot of women have this resistance around like feeling confident
in their
talking
pricing.
about their offer, talking about their price. So, and there's this like lack of confidence, right?
Right.
And I think that also like it's connected to worthiness, but it's also connected to clarity.
Yeah.
And something that we see a lot of our clients struggle with is just the ability to communicate confidently the value of what they do.
Right.
And so I would want people to like release the fact that like I think there's this level of performance that they feel like has to happen sometimes. And like deep down, that maybe like they're not worthy of getting those results. And I know, like with all of my heart, that like we all are absolutely worthy. And when we're in alignment doing the work that we love, and we can like release those stories, like that's when the expansion happens. That's when like the joy is found in your business. And so you are absolutely worthy of having like wild success,
Yeah.
alignment, and joy. And of course, like we all go on our own journey and take our own path to get there. And so actually what I'm sharing with all of your listeners today, I think is a really great first step in helping to release some of those things and to like get clearer on how to communicate and also how to align your energy with the work that you do. Gifting the Quantum Breakthrough GPT to
Yay.
everyone. Yeah, so you can have that conversation around where you feel stuck or where you feel resistance. It doesn't have to be hard,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It really doesn't have to be. That's, I think, one of the powerful things about AI is that like it can create shifts really fast for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so anyway, so I'm excited to be able to share that with everyone so they can have their own breakthrough experience and just see what is the thing that has been holding them back so that they can
Yeah.
shift it.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Something that just popped up for me. So my clients that all did this with you back in October, so they all got these amazing, this amazing feedback. They were all blown away. Like, that was like, oh my gosh, that was exactly what I needed to hear. And, so all of it. What would you suggest them to do now that they've been 2 months beyond? Yes, I think it's what, 2 months. Yeah, 2 months probably since they originally did that work. What would you tell them to go do right now?
Well, I would say, okay, so I think there's like two things that I want to say.
Hmm.
First, like the work really never ends,
Right,
right?
exactly.
So
Exactly.
I continue, like our clients, we have them go back to the Quantum Breakthrough GPT over and over and over again
Awesome.
as any type of resistance comes up because, growth and expansion is not linear.
Yeah, totally not. It's going to spiral all kinds of directions, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And so it's a tool that you get to have and keep by your side like forever as things come up for you and you get to work through it in real time instead of like suppressing it back down into its like dusty corner where it's lived for a really long time.
yeah,
So yeah, I would say, continue to use it.
yeah,
It's been just monumental in my own like personal growth this year.
yeah,
And then I would say the other thing I think is really important is that when you have the shift or the breakthrough, or you get the new language that you feel really empowered with from the GPT, it's really important to share that with others, meaning share the experience that you had with it and start to take the small actions of, you have to be a little bit brave sometime to like take the actions that are going to now rewrite the story. And when you share it with others, it makes things more concrete and more real for you.
yeah,
And so for me, when I shared my story today on this
yeah,
podcast,
yeah,
right? I've been doing that. I've been sharing this story nonstop since I had the experience back in, I think it was April. And that really then like up leveled me, helped me
yeah,
step more into the expansion of the truth of that experience. And that is one of the things that I think really started creating more opportunities for us,
right.
attracting more like great fit clients. So I would say don't keep it to yourself,
Yeah,
right? Get out there, share that shift that you're experiencing, whether it's through an email or just a conversation with a friend or a family member.
yeah. Love it. Love it. Those are great suggestions. Such great suggestions. Okay, so where can people get their quantum chat GPT and where do they, quantum GPT is what you call it, isn't it? And just where can they learn more and connect with you?
Okay, yeah. So we'll put the link down below this, probably, I would think, but it's the Lawrence.ai/quantum. So that's where you can get the GPT. Our website's really old and outdated. Just FYI, the Lawrence.ai we haven't updated it in a long time. So don't go there. No, I'm just kidding. But if you want to connect with us, where you can really find us is on Instagram. And so that's at the Lawrence.
Awesome. 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 I don't think I follow the two of you like that. I need to go do that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
we like we're not super active on Instagram, but I'm working on it. 2026, I really do want to put more focus into Instagram because I like sharing and creating
Yeah.
content. And so yeah, so we'll be on there more. We did grow our list a little bit. It feels good. We're starting to get a little bit of a following, and we're also part of a group called Entreprenista where we write like monthly articles for them on different topics and share different GPTs. And so I can provide that link for you as well, where people can read our
Awesome.
different articles. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. And then the final question I always close with is, what are three pearls of wisdom you'd like to leave with us today?
Three pearls of wisdom. Okay, the first one is so the resistance that I talked about today that I was experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
if you're feeling some kind of resistance in your business, don't ignore it. It's a compass for you. So it's showing you something. And I would, suggest taking the time to get really quiet and go within to understand like what is it showing you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
Second, I would say don't be afraid of AI. It doesn't
Yeah.
judge. It's really an incredible tool of expansion, and you have this opportunity to even just play with it. Like if you're newer to it, I use it for everything, all kinds of things. And I often suggest like when people are newer to AI to actually just use it for something fun, like a hobby or an interest that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's no pressure on it to like help you get great business results, but use it to, like help you plant your new garden and like understand what flowers you could plant or
We're
to
getting a new
create a
kitten. We're getting a new
oh
kitten. So we've got a whole thread going on kitten names.
there you go. Something like that, like naming your new kitten, right? But I mean, just to kind of like get you outside of the box and thinking, like, what are the different ways that I can use it? Because it's incredibly powerful. I use it for planning trips all the time and getting
Yeah.
recommendations for places that I'm going.
Nice.
And it knows me so well. So it knows the kinds of things that I would really
You like to
enjoy
do.
doing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Even been thinking I want to get my mom on it, and I've been thinking about what are ways it'd be fun for her to play around with it. So I think that's
You
another
could talk
thing.
to it about it and say,
That's
here, visit mom.
exactly. There you
Yeah,
go.
literally anything. Um, okay, and so what would be the third thing? A little bit of wisdom. I would say the fact that you were brave enough to start your own business and to follow your dreams and your passions is definitely a sign that you have the ability to create truly the life and the business that you want. So we all have this potential inside of us, and I know there's a spark there, and sometimes it can get muddied or messy, but I think us as entrepreneurs, we have this drive, right, inside of us, this fire, and it's always there. And sometimes it gets away from us, and it's important to recognize when it does and to like find our way back to it. So what are the things that you can really be doing to like find your way back to that spark and that fire? And so, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. It has been such a pleasure having you on today. And
Oh, thanks,
you guys
Candy.
go get your Quantum GPT. It's going to be amazing for you. You will be glad
Yes.
you did.
And then email me and let me know what your experience was like because I love getting those emails. That's really what fuels me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Lauren, thank you so much
Uh,
for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.